we all doing tonight? So, cool thing that happened. I had the thing scheduled out properly. Something must have gotten wrong where it, like, just stopped the recording prematurely. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. But, it did. So, I had to redo it. I don't know what's entirely up with that, but we shall see. So, audio is... background audio is kind of loud. I'm actually going to have to turn it down anyway. Alright, here we go. How is this? Background audio is kind of loud. I'm actually going to have to turn it down anyway. Alright, here we go. How is this? How about this? Just turn it down a bit. How is this? How about this? Okay, this should be good. This should be good. Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to LDM Magazine. We are continuing PlayStation Magazine. Issue 36 from August of the year 2000. If you missed part 1, first of all, how dare you? Absolutely, how dare you? Go back and watch that. Your life depends on it. But otherwise, we got a couple of interesting reviews. This was one of the last PlayStation magazines that would have come out just before the PS2 did in the US. I don't know when it came out in Japan. I believe it came out the same year, but the release dates were actually relatively close nationwide, I believe, which is kind of rare. Usually it'll be like, oh, it'll come out in Japan, and then it'll come out in America, like, a year later. Possibly later. Hell, I mean, remember the Mega Drive? Like, the Mega Drive in Europe came out, like, 2 years after it did in Japan. They were really kind of hedging their bets in the EU. Which is weird, because, like, Master System, the one place that actually did succeed was in Europe. Although, maybe it didn't succeed at that point. I think around that point, it was still pretty heavily, like, ZX Spectrum, CPC, at least on the 8-bit front. But enough of these 8-bit machines. 8 bits? Pfft, we've got 128 bits. That's 120 more bits. Games are going to be 120 times better. PlayStation, not actually 128 bits. They just said it was because that sounded cool. In fact, I believe to this day there has not ever been a 120-bit, 28-bit machine made. Because we are doing just fine on 64. Hell, I think I've heard, like, the N64 isn't even technically 64 bits, but that's a whole other story. It's probably, like, one of those cases where it's just like, oh, we put multiple 32-bit CPUs inside the N64, so if you add them together, it's a 64-bit CPU. Like, that's not in any feasible way how that works, but they like to think that's how it worked, so, you know. It's not a lie if you believe it. Anyway. I am going to... Yeah. We left off... The last thing we looked at was this weird list of the top 10 video game girls, where they, like, tried to be weirdly scientific about it, but ultimately it just confused things more than it needed to be. It's just like... It's like, oh, we put together all of these criteria for, like, what makes a good video game girl, and, like, they, like, tried to, like, make a science behind it, but that just kind of made things unnecessarily confusing, and it's just like... This was their first top 10 list, so they admitted there was work left to be done. What's this? Is it gonna read this? What not? Having trouble with these.
Fake Kilo 175 IID Bren Luck File He BR Xanaga HTJ AAA Achar SHI at LB. Nick is just plain cool. He's the best THs at what he does, but he's a reluctant FR. He's the ultimate loner, but he has a few and friends that he trusts with his life. Snake is hero, who uses strategy to gain the advantage. Every other action game hero mindlessly blasts 2 at every...
Oh, it wasn't the top 10...
Stealth AJA sets him apart.
It wasn't the top 10. I think it was just the top 10 heroes in general. It wasn't like the top 10 girls in gaming.
Lara and C may 5th be more identifiable as PlayStation.
That's right, because it did have like
when you look at the overall
that's right, it did have like Crash Bandicoot and stuff on there. That's right, I remember now.
His percent storyline, his kick-ass gear, his sneaky WY moves, he just offers so much more. USD, congrats, Snake, you're number 1. Talo Vidasau, Prey NPRA.
Snake. Why did it have to be Snake? Okay, obvious joke out of the way. I mean, honestly, like, it's... You know, like, I will say, like, this list is a lot less sexist than I think a lot of these video game mags were kind of doing at the time. I've heard, like, PlayStation Magazine did kind of go down that sort of lad rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Like... kind of just, like, appealing to, like, the lads, aka what we would call now, like, the incel market. But, definitely at this point, it was a pretty, well, good-meaning magazine. I think they all kind of, like, went down that rabbit hole. Well, not all of them. Definitely by, like, 2003 or so, like, when we looked at the last PlayStation magazine, it wasn't going through that route. Maybe I might be thinking of the UK PlayStation magazine, which I think is just called Official PlayStation Magazine. I might have to look through that at some point. That could be interesting. I wonder... At the risk of, like, doing 2 PlayStation magazines in a row, I said I wanted to do a European magazine. Why don't I do the European official PlayStation magazine? I might do that next week. Also, hello, Arus218. Oh, here we go. But yeah, Solid Snake, the #1 best character. I would not argue with that pick. That's a pretty uncontroversial pick, I believe. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna use my browser's full screen mode. Magic on the blacktop. Magic on the blacktop. Work that ball. Anyway.
Magic on the blacktop. Work that ball.
What is this?
Magic on the blacktop. Magic on the blacktop. Magic on the blacktop. Work that ball.
Oh, is this? What can you get for under $10? A pizza or a PlayStation disc, I guess. Side street Budge? I don't know. I wonder if this is like a simple 1500 game that was brought over. They did bring over some of those. A great new game for the PlayStation game console. The PlayStation game console? The PlayStation game console? You mean the one by PlayStation? Shit, son. Alright, what's this? Oh, these are more coupons, okay. You got game, $9.99. That's 1 cent cheaper than I was expecting! What a deal. They just keep piling on the deals. Magic on the blacktop. Oh, you gotta pay tax, too. Dino Crisis 2! Oh, hell yeah, let's go.
Or so, SEERSREVE covered Dino Crisis 2 in past issues of PSM, but certainly not this deeply. This month, Capcom was kind enough to send us the DC2 demo that was shown at this past E3. While not that long in.
Oh boy. I played... I can't remember if I played the first or the second Dino Crisis. I feel like I remember them being very similar games, but I could be wrong.
Length, the demo reveals the /2 lead characters and Sev, arrow of the main enemies that will appear in the final game. So, without further delay, let's jump into the action.
Okay, so what is this? Oh shit.
This screen is just a mock-up, but it was good enough to catch our attention at E3. Hitting the start button, we begin the adventure. The game opens with a dialogue between Regina, the heroine from the first game, and Dylan, a special agent with a taste for pain.
Hello, Kurumi. We're taking a look at Dino Crisis 2 right now. How many Dino Crises did they have? I don't think they... Like, they kind of gave up on Dino Crisis after a while, didn't they? I think there might have been a couple on PS2, but I'm not sure.
Using her energy wand, Regina manages FO open up a back entrance to the complex. She enters and prepares for the worst. E3 is so far.
You think
so
4?
good.
Okay.
There aren't any dinosaurs to speak of yet. Oh, proceeding along, Regina picks up any items that are nearby.
Oh, I think I did play Dino Crisis 2, because this looks really familiar.
For the complex starts out looking really high-tech, but that will change soon enough. Most of the game is spent in the jungle.
I liked Dino Crisis 2. It's sort of like Resident Evil, but 1 with more dinosaurs, and 2, more importantly, kind of more action-oriented, which I kind of liked a
There's
bit
nowhere
more.
to enter except through this set of electronic doors. Before proceeding, Regina checks her ammunition supply.
Definitely, like, it used, like, the sort of tank control thing of Resident Evil, but more importantly, it used, like, the pre-rendered kind of look of Resident Evil, and even more importantly, kind of used, like, the fixed camera angle. So it wasn't, like, as much to wrestle with as something like Tomb Raider, which tried to do the tank controls but put it in a 3D, like a fully open 3D game. Like, it didn't feel as much like you were kind of wrestling with the camera and the overall game as it did with something like a Tomb Raider.
Across this bridge, the forest starts and the dinosaur attacks will begin. There's no longer any room for mistakes or hesitation.
What's the rail shooter that I get this confused with all the time? Oh, I think Time Crisis. That's what it is.
In a classic moment, you catch a glimpse of the giant T-Rex before you even begin fighting any dinosaurs. Consider it a warning.
Yeah, I always get this confused with Time Crisis. That's the rail shooter. That's not at all related to this, I don't think, but features the word crisis. I guess there's also Incredible Crisis, but that's a completely different game.
A little details, like the ferns and airborne pterodactyls, really feel like you've just entered the Jurassic period.
Come on, even for the time, it did not feel that realistic. Your standards couldn't have been that low, come on.
You never know when a dino will attack, so you'll always have to be prepared with...
I love how it pronounces it Dino,
just
like the
fire
British
at
way.
anything that moves. So SS at each character can use two weapons at the same time, a main weapon and a sub-weapon. The sub-weapon isn't that powerful. The raptors come from every angle you can think of. Some will jump at you from behind, while others will attack from head-on. Since the backgrounds are pre-rendered now, the developers were able to create bigger and more detailed dinosaurs.
Was the first Dino Crisis not pre-rendered? I thought it was. Well, I guess, yeah, if you're gonna make... I guess that is the benefit. It takes less strain off the PS1 so you can focus on the things that matter, like the dinos.
T5RTTRE7SR RET RRR 1 foot TWSRAE by FATAEAETA. Dino Crisis 2 is more of an action game than the first title, so Capcom has introduced several new features to cater to that. Now, you're awarded points based on how quickly you can put dinosaurs down and where you target them. Headshots give you the most points.
Headshots? How does that work? How... Like, it's a third-person game. How... I don't think it gives you that much control over your aim. If it's the game that I think it is.
If you wait too long
Which it
to
looks like
attack,
it is.
the dinosaurs will quickly surround you. Some will even leap and knock you off your feet. If you're unlucky enough to run out of ammo, you can hit A and use your sub-weapon. However, it takes several hits to down a dino.
Down a dino. Can we bring that back? Can we bring back, like, instead of saying you killed someone? You know what? Let's do it that way. Like, instead of saying, like, the modern thing is unalive. Like, that's the way you do that while, like, staying in, like, YouTube's TOS. Instead of saying you unalived someone, say you downed someone. Let's bring that back.
FC at YMC UT Eats and EO at RF First Aid Kits are your friends in this game. There are several variations.
Much like Resident
and
Evil.
All have specific perboya. Ka Alien by Geology.
I mean, I've played this game before. I haven't played much of it, but from what I have played, it looks pretty cool. I wonder if I could get LCX to program this to zoom it in even more. Like, not even, like, even necessarily have a stopper for how much you can zoom in.
Notice SENINDE that mud on the ground. Impressive.
I don't know if I would want that, but I might. That way I could just have, like, one of these panels on a screen at a time.
Nearby hill and decides to enter the building that's up ahead. Can anything stop her?
No one can stop Mr. Domino.
For out of nowhere, a military vehicle suddenly drops forward Regina, section Xia attack THDDLY. She manages to leap to safety. Fortunately, there's
Hello,
plenty
Daniel
of room
Barry.
for Regina to move around in. There's never a moment when she'll have her back to a wall. For after about 5 minutes of endless shooting, Regina concludes that there is no way to defeat this monster, yet. She decides to run.
Pussy.
For we now join Dylan on the other side of the island. He's not that bright, but has good intentions. Without fear, he enters the jungle. After gathering her senses and getting up from the ground, Regina sees her worst nightmare in front of her, a giant dinosaur that appears to be very, very hungry.
Oh no.
Determined heroine that she is, Regina needs to fight her way out of this extremely sticky situation.
That's what I got. Sticky situation.
For, if it bleeds, we can kill it. This couldn't be more true of the dinos, since they're generally easier to kill than the ones in Dino Crisis 1.
Except for the one that we just couldn't kill and had to run away from.
may even IIN you have plenty or ammo, some finds. The best solo tie-in is to just
Oh
run
shit,
away.
dinosaurs be
The
packing.
dinos have a hard time keeping up.
Really, I think that was like the biggest mistake that they made in Jurassic Park. They, you know, okay, we like brought dinosaurs back to life through like some complex DNA, whatever. All right, cool. We probably shouldn't have given them guns. That probably was not a great idea. We shouldn't. We should have thought about that before we did that. Hey, dinosaurs, guns don't kill people. Dinosaurs kill people with guns.
When a character gets bitten, they start to lose blood. The dinos can follow the trail and track them down rather quickly. For the first aid kit, pictured here, will restore your health and stop any bleeding. Use them wisely, as you won't find many of them. At this time, you will have to fight off multiple dinosaurs at a time instead of the one-on-one attacks found in the first game. Unlike in the Resident Evil Gomez, you don't have to CMBWN ladders in order to reach a lower area. You can jump down.
Ooh, nice. That would probably be pretty necessary in an action game like this, I'd imagine.
Out of the corner of his eye, Dylan notices this dark figure of a man. The man runs away, however, before Dylan can do anything. Dylan tries to run after the man, but quickly loses him. Not one to focus on defeat, Dylan continues on FO the next area of the game. Generally, INE Amos Gon Oyak in groups like Ms. Nisit is good roar them and bad for you. When it does happen, it only takes one good shot from your shotgun to finish all of them off. Your reward is an extremely high combo bonus that's added FO your overall
bonus
score for the area.
Aha.
Ball will purchase extra ammo, healing. Just like Regina, Dylan gets his. Change FO Fackle a giant dino. However, this T-Rex should be familiar to fans of the first game.
This is a good song.
Before Dylan actively gets to fight the returning boss, the demo ends and this screen appears in order to tease you. Coming soon.
When did Dino Crisis 2 come out? I wish Siri didn't suck. That way I could ask her. I'll just ask ChatGPT, I suppose. Let's see. What did soon actually mean? Released in 2000. In Japan, September 13th. Okay, so that actually was pretty soon. And in America, it released November 22nd. So you'd have to wait a couple more months in America, but that's still relatively soon. Came out after the PS2 did, but... And then in Europe, it released December 8th. Okay. Still, I mean... Oh yeah, Game Breaker! If I remember right, Game Breaker was basically like a competitor to like the Action Replay or the Game Shark. Just a cheat device. Probably let you play import games, but they aren't gonna tell you that. You have to figure that one out on your own, because Sony don't like you playing imports. Or at least they didn't back then. Now I don't think... Is the PlayStation 5 region locked? They would be stupid if they did that, so yeah, probably it is.
Nah, I am merry of this year's crop of college foot IES, but when we got our hands on an early beta of Game Breaker 2001, we have to admit we were very impressed with the work so far. Outside of a few bugs apparent in the AL and in the play-by-play/color commentary, this game is already looking...
Oh,
like
I'm thinking of something else.
The players look great and are smoothly animated. The control system is intuitive and
it's
makes
a soccer
it easy
game,
to keep
okay.
your eyes on the screen, searching for the open receiver. That's not to say we found everything to our liking, however. The play selection screens seem kind of cramped, and give no real indication of which receiver is going to run which route. On the other hand, the options screen was well laid out and made it easy to customize the gameplay.
These are
If
previews.
the 989 sports team keeps on track and manages to get out the few small bugs that are still costless, JLING problems, there's no clues case in what any college, so-qua ESL football fan wouldn't put NS. FOL Game Breaker
it's
2001
football,
on
as in
the
American
top
football,
of
I
his
see
must
now.
draft list. It's...
How about NCAA Football 2001? Is this any better? If it has this music, probably not, but I don't think it did.
PTAA LR 5 gallons ETRAD 1.57 AF.
This was actual music, for the record. This was, for the DOS version of Miami Vice. Or, Beverly Hills Cop, rather. I get the two confused, having never seen either franchise.
Equals months away, it appears that some companies are pulling their A-team programmers and artists out of PlayStation projects to concentrate on the new machine. At least, that seems to be the case with NCAA This Football 2001. E.T. Reed, we know the version we've been provided with is in this screenshot than at very early beta, but the graphics to date have a blocky look and the anime RY tie-ins are decidedly jerky. This isn't to say that LDM and the whole game will be horrible, though. Fonts IIIO the game's options screens allow you to a junior PRES, A5 customize the gameplay to suit your taste, and the ES Fan AA the play calling screens are clear and concise. Lure 2 EES figuring out how the team selection screen worked was a bit of a problem, though. Applied Materials AFEA Sports can get the graphics, and which is a good thing, NCAA during animation back on track.
It does
in
look
time for
pretty
release.
blocky, though.
What happens
They're
if
right.
the coach NCAA Football 2001 could still find itself a cam button? Yeah.
It does look pretty decent. I mean, it looks okay. For the time, I mean, if I were a football fan, I could probably buy it and not be too disappointed, but... Yeah, they are right. It looks like they did not put their A-team on this one. It looks like they probably moved it over to the PS2. I am gonna be right back, though. I'm gonna quick run to the bathroom. Hi, I'm back. Hello, LCX. We were looking at Dino Crisis 2 earlier, took a look at some football games. Honestly, that look of Dino Crisis 2 kind of reaffirmed my thoughts on Dino Crisis 2, as in, it's a much more action-oriented version of Resident Evil that I honestly quite prefer. By the way, I did get a new capture device, so you should see that on Saturday. You're probably not going to see it tonight. I don't think I'm going to be playing any games tonight, but Saturday. I got a decent one, too. I got Avermedia capture device. It's like $20 more than the thing I got before. Okay, you know what? I'm going to use this opportunity to rant a little bit, because I found out that OBS is apparently doing a thing that fucking pisses me off. So, I talked to ChatGPT, and it basically said, so this is in part due to your capture device, but also just in part to OBS fiddle fucking with time-based correction. Apparently OBS, so these cheaper capture devices essentially use like a weaker time-based correction. And it will, and OBS has been like continuously like getting more and more strict about its time-based correction, so that it basically makes these old capture devices obsolete even when they work fine otherwise. OBS is just like making them obsolete for I don't understand what reason, but it's not like OBS, as far as I know, is like in the back pocket of like Avermedia or Elgato to be like, oh, well, you have to buy an expensive capture device. Fortunately, I paid more than I'd like to admit for the Avermedia one. It was $79 fucking dollars, but I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to just get like a cheaper capture device and have it work, like this one was. But apparently OBS decided, no, your capture device, it's obsolete now. Why? Fuck you. Anyway, that's really cool. I'm glad they did that. Anyway, we were looking at previews. Here's a preview of Spider-Man. Excuse me. Of Spider-Man. Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. I think that's how that goes. Does whatever a Spider-Man does.
Thought that the developers of Tony doing a Spider-Man title. We certainly wouldn't, but we're GLA that they are. We're also glad that Activision was feist enough. Oh, send us an.
Oh, okay. Hey, LCX, since you're here, question. Why is it now? Is it possible to, like, get this to, like, zoom in more? Like, could you program that? That way I could just, like, theoretically kind of zoom in infinitely. I don't want, like, a zoom out to be infinite. I want it to stop, like, when it's full screen, but... Or when, like, the full page is in view, like how it normally is. But zoom in, could you, like, potentially get rid of, like, the cap to how far it zooms in?
With this latest build, a FOT more of the gameplay has been revealed. There's certainly a FOT more variety than we expected. While Spidey does spend most of his time swinging from building to building, he'll also end up riding a train, exploring underground tunnels, and taking on countless supervillains. Hey, what can we say? It's a busy life for a hero. One of the levels has our friendly neighborhood Iraq-NID frantically racing through the city as he's being chased by an assault chopper. Talk about pressure. If you stop swinging or running for even a second, you're going to get hit with a barrage of bullets, and we all know that Spidey's not bulletproof. Managed to make it to the end, and CPU forced 10 to 90 one-on-one with a major boss. And that's one of the great things about this big game. All the action segments and storylines allow your W together to form one long adventure. Each level is like one part of a Jang story arc that spans several comics. Adding to this are the mocked-up comic book covers that appear during the loading screens.
Fun fact, there's an N64 version of this game, and in lieu of, like, actual cutscenes, it has, like, these comic book panels as the cutscenes. It's actually not a bad way of, like, getting around that limitation. But yeah, I mean, this is the Spider-Man game. This is the Spider-Man game that was the basis for pretty much every Spider-Man game going afterwards, up to and including the present. Like, I think the most recent Spider-Man game even shares some DNA with this one. Being kind of a more open-worldy sandbox type thing.
Iconic look and feel in A-equals NCSPRA video game. Before, Spider-Man hikes and moves like he does in the comics and defeats set Terra CT could get us. Fiber TN's tie, died Baudius and saw FF it was heading to the EY4 plus PS2 as well. Now, that underscore equals 008.
Well, yeah, there's some screenshots. I've not played much of this game. I mean, really, I'm just not a huge fan of, like, sandboxy type games, but I've heard fantastic things about it. People definitely really liked it back in the day. I think even now it's... I mean, now there's, like, Spider-Man games that basically just do this, but more of it and with better graphics. So I don't know if there's really a reason to go back to this one, but people definitely liked it at the time. So much so that, again, every Spider-Man game afterwards basically took from it. Can the same be said of NFL Game Day 2001, though? Let's find out.
Game Day 2001 has a ton of great stuff going for it, but with the imminent release of the PlayStation 2 and its fantastic versions of Madden and Game Day, will this game be worth picking up? The answer is, you bet. 989 has made a bunch of improvements, including new play calling screens, extra steps in every tackling
There were so many,
animation,
there were
gameplay,
literally
new
this
stadiums.
one magazine
They've
has
even got the
3
Rams'
different
new
football
uniforms.
games in this
They've
one
even
section
gotten
so
rid of those
far.
asinine break
Like, what
dancing
can you do?
celebrations. Way to go, 98,
That's not even
91.
counting like NFL
Another
Blitz, like the
important
more
correction
arcadey
was
style
made to the
football
advanced
games. These
controls.
just seem like they're like standard
Players will no
sim
longer
type
have
football
to hold
games.
down the L2 button to engage total control passing or advanced moves. A simple double tap on any button will do the trick.
Actually, that might be this though.
Yes.
This might be
Game Day
NFL
2001
Blitz
will
adjacent.
also feature improved graphics for both players and BTT. €1.014 Stadium Cent, Phone 3 at WRE or POF 17 tough NFL players, 200 new motion captured and animations modeled by such
mocap.
NFL play fan pairs as Tim Brown and Charles and Woodson, two of my favorites. Authentic team playbooks that reflect the latest NFL trends and schemes. Oh, new and improved commentary by Phil Ling Sims and Dick Enberg, complete with Ding and on-screen telestrator, and enhanced through General Manager mode, which tells the player what his team's weaknesses are then and how to improve them, and an ANC upgraded training camp, where your team can become a lean, PR was mean killing machine. Ain't airs, but that doesn't even
NFL boot
/212
camp. Fuck yeah.
begin to scratch the cert = sin face of all that NFL section %able Game Day 2001 will bring FES to the table. Players will be =_true able to play as any ball hog. Time ever, there will be updated creative player and design play modes, new in-game help menus, every past Super Bowl team will be included, and much, much more. Any way you look at it, Game Day 2001 is shaping up to be a conference champion. We asked sources at 989 Studios if this would be the last game day to grace the original PlayStation. In true NFL form, our source could neither confirm nor deny that rumor. Either way, Game Day 2001 should stand out as the premier day football game on the Dick PlayStation.
The Dick PlayStation.
With me, WK, what it will bring I to the table, if PY should remain 2PR champion.
It should be a champion. It should be. I mean, the game sounds pretty cool. Coming from a guy who's not a football games fan. It's got some bells and whistles, including an NFL boot camp, apparently. That's actually kind of cool. Kind of a neat little add-on feature.
Every once in a while, a team will decide to change its uniform. There has never been an attempt at a uniform change in history that resulted in a team looking better, with the possible exception of the Atlanta Falcons. This year, it was the Rams'
I mean, that game looks pretty good. Graphics are kind of like a bit cartoonish. I don't know if I like how bright everything is, but otherwise, it looks pretty decent. Actually, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I like how, like, it almost looks like kind of Dreamcast-y, if that makes sense. Like, just the very bright, vibrant colors, sort of a lack of detail. I don't know if I really care for that style, but sounds like the gameplay's fun. Hey, Fear Effect! We just saw that.
The latest looks to be greatest EOTW =
Breath of Fire 4.
Unleash its latest RPG, Breath of Fire 4, upon the ES gaming community in the next few months. This release marks the second and probably last appearance of the hugely popular AP, a series on the current PlayStation console, but T's certainly going out with plus SU off the bang. Era, about a visually delightful, both of sticks with the formula of 2D sprite-based, */LLAHOS OO characters combined with beautiful 3D, polygonal environments. CES 7, a cricket everything has that hand-painted animation look to it, which EJ=7, suits the game well. This is easily one of the
Are there any, like, actual gameplay? I guess not.
Despite the fact that it's not even finished yet.
There's like a picture of the menu. There's like one. I guess it's like a kind of isometric view. I gotta play the Breath of Fire games. I think next. I think that might be next one-off Saturday. After Unholy Wars.
Specials together in order to form Chain Attack 9 Renee Q sequences.
I'll play the first one on Game Boy Advance.
Up to a 100-hit combination can be
Oh, they got combos?
Only
Sick.
Possible with extremely high-level characters. Needless to say, SUC successfully hitting any enemy, even bosses, with such an attack would pretty much destroy them. We like that. ABWay 7FS, as most fans are aware, the onslaught of this year's KDL Side 2 RPGs will hit the PlayStation very soon. There's going to be in SANY, EABS at least 5 to 10 titles worthy of being purchased, and we're Hitch 7 sure that Breath of
Yeah, I
Fire
think.
4 will
Yeah, that's the thing, is like there were so many RPGs coming out around this time. There was this, there was, I think Final Fantasy IX was around this time. You had fucking Lunar 2, you had Threads of Fate, Rhapsody. You had like Legend of Mana, I think we saw earlier. So many RPGs coming out around this same time, and all of them just kind of... Do you kind of understand? Do you kind of understand why Americans didn't really have time for Rhapsody when, like, literally every RPG just decided to come out at the same time? I mean, PS2 was coming out, just throw everything out. That's... Because once the PS2 comes out, we ain't gonna have time for this dinky toilet PlayStation. There were probably good RPGs that came out after the PS2 launched. Well, I think we've seen, like, most of them in this magazine, but... Just like there were, just in general, a lot of good games that came out for the PS2. And speaking of, well, I don't know if Fear Effect's necessarily an RPG, but kind of Western-style RPG, maybe? I don't know. No, it's just an action game, I think. I've never played Fear Effect, so I don't know that for sure. He's never played Fear Effect. Unsubscribe immediately. It's gonna... read that bit. That sucks. After striking out several times with its lackluster fighting games, Chronos finally found its niche in Fear Effect. The game didn't really feature anything new as far as gameplay goes, but it was tops in design and atmosphere. By using looping FMV-based backgrounds, they are able to give the game a very lifelike feel. Okay, and design of the characters also helped to the title from the myriad of Resident Evil clones hope that you got an A in ONL, arithmetic. This is a pretty give, basic door lock that's based TYP, Helix, which is actually a prequel to Fear on a 5-digit code. No, developers took all the knowledge they had problem, is why you paid. Read to push the game as far as it could boon, M8, PlayStation. Now, the backgrounds are even
the characters look better and the loading times have been almost calm/addition. The story is also more in-depth and explains the origins of the game's turds. Of characters,
Maybe I should
there are
play
now
Fear
4
Effect.
playable ones. Hanatsu Vatral returns, or pals Royce Glass and Jacob DeCourt. Also making an appearance is the Rain Sheen. Not much is known about her, except for the fact that she has intimate
It does look pretty
relationship with
decent.
Hannah.
It looks
We'll let you
sort
think
of
about
Resident
that one for a
Evil-ish,
bit.
but
4. That the ESRB ratings
from what I
board will
understand,
have
maybe a
their
little bit
hands
less
full
jank than that.
Retro Helix to hit stores sometime this fall. Fear Effect 2, which is the true fur, is now developed for the PlayStation 2 and should be available early next year.
Oh, Fear Effect 2. I think that's... No, I think, I saw the first Fear Effect the other day. Fear Effect 2, that one's probably pretty good as well. But, we've got Breakout. This can be exactly one of one things. I've never played this one, but I've seen it. It looks pretty interesting. It's a modern sort of revival of Breakout.
EYT Satkani Toitsetjurui, .co.uk. Here's a whole lot of gamers out there who cut their teeth on Breakout, an addictive little shooter that had a simple goal: to shoot out all the blocks and clear
I would
the
not have
screen,
called it a
at
shooter,
which point
but
all the
okay.
little bricks would come back for more. Hasbro Interactive
I would call Silver
decided
Surfer
that it
a
was
shooter.
game that was ready for a comeback, so it made one. Unfortunately, at this early date, it looks like Hasbro goofed up the gameplay with graphics.
I done goofed up.
So far, the control is horrible. Hitting the ball on the bang edge of the cursor, a cute, little, rubbery red guy, does GN result in an angled shot. The ball just keeps going straight. And it's next to impossible to figure out the goal of several of the missions, which take place in deserts, castles, and the countryside. Nothing you do seems to make much sense. Hasbro has a lot of work to do before this one is ready for the thousands of fans who might feel inclined to buy it.
Sure.
Joe,
If they ended up fixing that. I know that, like, some of these retro revivals...
and maybe include a version of the
I know that some of these Hasbro games, a lot of people didn't really like, but, actually, yeah, I think Breakout was one of them that isn't particularly popular, but it looked cool to me, but if it controls like shit, I guess that doesn't surprise me. But how about Frogger 2? I've played the first Frogger, and it was good, if not a little bit impossible. I think Frogger 2 might be a bit easier, but I don't recall. Let's see. Definitely they haven't been, like, particularly kind to some of the other Hasbro games. We saw Who Wants to Be a Millionaire earlier, and they weren't particularly kind to that. This was around the time that, like, Hasbro was about to fold. Like, basically, if you don't know the story of, like, Hasbro's game division, they basically got really big off the first Frogger game, devoted, like, a shit ton of R&D into their game division, and then when, like, nothing got as big as that first Frogger game, they sort of just closed out right around the time of the first PlayStation. I think there might have been a couple of Hasbro Interactive games on the PS2, but, like, roughly around the time the PS2 came out is when Hasbro Interactive shut down.
INE1 Rob came near to get down.
It was very
equals
short-sighted.
NS from the end or equals, despite the fact that almost every video game journalist disliked it. Frogger still went on to sell millions of copies and become one of the most successful titles on the PlayStation. Even to this day, we're still trying to figure out why people bought it. The game had probably the worst camera system ever.
It did.
The frog seemed to respond to commands only when it really felt like it.
It did.
Yet, the game sold like hotcakes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why Hasbro is making a sequel. Now, here's the scary part. Frogger 2 is equals. Actually quite fun to play. Even in the limited E37 equals demo that was sent to us, the camera and Connex sent at OOLJE troll problems that plagued the first game scenery are why Win Gortav disappeared. Not only that, but the SOAR OEEIDL game actually feels a lot closer to the original Soul equals 3 Frogger.
Maybe the sequel is better.
PlayStation game ever PST did. Who would have thought that the Series I or BL could have made an about-face like that? We too PRA certainly didn't. Anyway, check out these 1i, IH asterisk PN screenshots fresh off the lily pad and try not to LLY out there. For the camera system is greatly improved jump around.
I'll have to check that out. I might have to check that one out. Or I might have, actually. I don't remember, but... You know what? Let me check something. I wonder if I actually have this game. If so, that would be a good chance to test out my new capture device. If it's not on here, I'm not going to bother downloading it. That's too much effort for a game like this, but... Oh, there we go. Swampy's Revenge. Cool, let's try out my new capture device. LDM. It is, showing... Oh, it is not. Now, oh wait, no. That's not it. Where was the... Stream link? Okay. I might need to... Ah, there we go. Where's... First of all, overlay. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, do that. And then... do that. All right. Let's see. How is it? It looks pretty good. I imagine there's not going to be like much of like an actual visual quality improvement. I'm just hoping that the sound isn't cutting in and out. That's what I'm mostly hoping for. Oh shit. Hang on. Oh, why is the this emulator sucks ass? I might have to switch back to the old one. Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, I'm switching to the other emulator. I had to switch emulators for Lunar to swap discs, but now I don't need to. Now I should be able to just get it going on the other emulator, which works considerably better. PCSX Reloaded, I think, was the one I used. Right? No. I think it was Swan Station was the one I used. The one that's more reliable but doesn't swap discs properly. Or I could just use Duck Station. Now, because then I'd have to swap it again once we have to play Lunar again. Alright. Hello, Orc Raid. How does this sound? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, first of all, that's loud as fuck. Let me fix that. But second of all... Yes, the sound is not fucked. I repeat, the sound is not fucked. Also, I think the frame might... I wonder if the frame rate might be a little bit better, too, or if that's just placebo, but... Definitely the sound is not fucked. That's what I was hoping for. Anyway, let's see if this is actually improved. For what it's worth, I had the same issues that he was claiming in the original game, and I also kind of don't... Well, I think I can answer why the game sold as much as it did, because it had the Frogger license, and even by the late 90s, that was still worth quite a bit. But, oh, shit. No, not what I wanted. Oh, I already don't love this video. Oh wait, maybe this is the actual game? It said something about training, but... Oh, maybe it's just the training mode is first. I don't know. Oh, I have to. What am I supposed to do though? There's no. Oh wait. There's a jump. There's a jump, but I can't like jump forward. Oh, that's what I had to do. Yeah, immediately I can say the camera is capacity improved. Oh, that's what I had to do. I had to double jump. I'm definitely glad there is a training mode, because otherwise this would be quite a bit to get used to. I'm not always a fan of games that have like overly long, unskippable tutorials, but in this case I feel like it's kind of necessary. You even get to like float a little bit after your double jump. That's kind of neat. Not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do here, though. Hello, Renee. Oh, wait. Oh, that's okay. Okay. This game is actually pretty good. I'm in agreement with the reviewer. This one is actually a massive improvement of the first Frogger game. Training completed. I still don't know what that Sonic Ribbit thing does. I kind of wish the training would have explained what that is. Like, I don't know if there's, like, a way to kill enemies or anything. Or maybe that just stuns enemies. It might. Oh, it's got cutscenes? Dude, how bad is the volume? Should I turn it down more? Oh, it's got cutscenes? Yes, yes, I do. Okay. There, that should be good. I don't really want to see the cutscenes right now, but I'm glad they exist. The Garden. Good Guns N' Roses song. The one with Alice Cooper as the feature. Answer that does not stun the enemies, and I still don't entirely know what it does. But yeah, look at this. They really did improve the controls, and more importantly, the camera of this. I'm quite impressed. Good work. Good work to the skeleton team of Hasbro that did this 20 years ago. Your work probably was in vain, but I really wish it wasn't. Anyway, yeah. Frogger 2, I might have to play that on my own at some point. Revolution! Ah! Revolution! Okay. Blade. Oh, I think I've heard of that one before. Might have played it even. I don't remember.
Comic book-based movies generally end up being quite bad. There are those.
Blade is a comic book? I've never heard of it.
Blade was one such exception. Sure, the dialogue and acting could have been a bit better, but the fighting sequences and general atmosphere more than made up for negatives that the movie might have had. Perhaps the same will be true of the upcoming game. While based on the movie and popular Marvel character, Blade, the game, will feature a completely original story and introduce a whole slew of new monsters. You, of course, take on the role of Blade as he attempts to rid the city of those nasty neck-biting creatures we
I
call
definitely have
vampires.
not played this game.
Fortunately, you'll have access to Blade's entire arsenal of
Looks
weapons,
alright, though.
which includes his various guns and his infamous sword. Do you think you're up to the task?
Definitely, like... It looks alright, at least from the screenshots. Maybe a bit Tenchu-like? I don't know, but... Revolt 2. I've never heard of the first Revolt, so...
Acclaim gives RC Racing
Acclaim,
a
oh
second
no.
40, Boss EESTES a Shea EISIEMN How considered to be one of the best racing games available on the Dreamcast and PC, Revolt did not fare as well on the PlayStation. Fluctuating frame rates and sluggish controls really hampered what was otherwise a potentially good game. Fortunately,
Well, yeah, no shit.
looks
Acclaim was
like
behind
Acclaim
it.
has learned its lesson and is working ing hard to get the PlayStation version of Revolt 2 up to the level of quality that it deserves. FO for this sequel, the developers looked at the first game and came up with ways to improve the overall gaming experience. ETE along with the obvious additions of EES equals I new vehicles, tracks, and modes, that RC Revolt 2 will also feature an 2% improved physics engine, equals B along with a very much 5-go refined handling section B equals N temp. The vehicles equals A I will feel even more equals, or 6 like their real-life EEOE. GRW
So it's like kind of
Y
Destruction Derby-esque, is what I'm getting.
Just hope that with all these new additions, the game will still run at a somewhat constant 30 frames per second. If it can, then there might be hope for the series yet.
Answer, I don't think there was, because I'm pretty sure there... Well, I say I don't think there was a Revolt 3. I didn't know there was a Revolt 2 or a Revolt 1, so... Who the hell knows? There might be... We might be up to, like, Revolt 15, and I just don't fucking know. But, it looks alright. It looks a bit Destruction Derby-esque. No idea if it actually plays well, but, Valkyrie Profile! Oh, that's another RPG I gotta get to. Add this to the list of many RPGs that came out at this one point.
Rooted in Norse mythology and casts the player as Lenneth Valkyrie, a goddess of fate. Playing as this beautiful warrior, it's your job to train mortal souls.
Is it Valkyrie?
So that they may take part in Ragnarok, the ultimate
Not
battle
Valkyrie?
between good
Okay.
and evil. While the plot itself
Actually,
might
yeah,
seem
I'm looking at how it's
unconventional
spelled. Yeah, I
enough
think it is
RPG
Valkyrie.
terms, the rest of the game
Have I been
lets
saying
you
it wrong
learn
this whole
even
time?
further. There'll still be turn-based battles, but you'll be able to time the attacks of each party member, which will allow for multi-stage attacks that can, for instance, break through an enemy's guard or exploit a weak spot.
It looks revolting. Go to your
In
room.
execution, it might end up looking more like a fighting game, complete with power bars, than your traditional RPG battle. But there'll still be plenty of strategy involved in determining which combo best suits the situation. When there's
I'm gonna have to
exploration
add Valkyrie
be done,
Profile to my
Lenneth dons her
list.
heavy armor and
This
explores
game
levels
looks
action
kinda
platformer
sick.
style,
I
complete
like
with
the...
jumps,
I do
dashes,
like
slides,
the idea
really
of like a
integrate
hybrid
crystals
between
that
a
can be
turn-based
used to
and
a
an
variety of
action-based
purposes,
battle
such as
system.
climbing walls, throwing, and freezing enemies in their tracks. Slash at or touch an enemy, though, and you'll instantly be whisked off into the battle mode. The ultimate
RPG's so
purpose
good
of
they
grinding
remaster
foes,
them without doing
other than
anything.
freeing
Yeah.
lost souls and generally dispatching bad guys, is to earn experience for your party members and build their stats as much as possible. You'll also want to outfit them with as much powerful gear
I
and
do
items as possible.
Find it
as
funny
the
that
ultimate
like
goal.
basically
Once they've
every
reached a certain
PS1
skill
RPG
level,
that's
is to
worth a
send them
damn
up to
came out within
Asgard to
like
battle
5
for
months
the
of each
gods.
other.
Send weak characters up, and your side will lose. DRL 10.
Like they were just talking about that. Like, how many RPGs have we seen in just this one issue? Ones that I've already played, other ones that I'm probably going to play at some point in my life. Like, we've got, like, Well, we saw Rhapsody, we saw Threads of Fate, we saw Lunar 2, Valkyrie Profile just a few pages ago. We saw, what was that? Breath of Fire 4. They were just getting all these RPGs out the door. Like, we gotta get them out now before the PS2 comes out, because once that happens, these are gonna be ancient history. We're gonna have to worry about... I think there was a Breath of Fire 5. And if I remember right, people didn't really like that one, but that's beside the point. Or did they? Did people like Breath of Fire 5? I thought I remembered that one having like a more realistic look and fans not really taking to that, but I don't know. I could be wrong. No idea if the game's actually good despite fans not really liking it. It very well might have been. How about Medal of Honor? Oh, this is the first Medal of Honor. I think LCX said this was one of the best first-person shooters on the PS1. Having never played it, I'll just have to assume... You know what? I could download it. I could download the first Medal of Honor.
Ojian Nulanuani Y5 the game's missions will EA's WWIL shooter re-enlists for from North Africa FO Nazianather mission ET before the events of the original Medal of Honor. This prequel to EA's
Oh, this is the prequel to Medal of Honor.
First-person shooter puts you in the shoes of a female French resistance member named Number 4, Manon, who's out to end the Nazi occupation of her country. Spanning 7 missions, the game will carry Manon across North Africa, Italy, Greece, Germany, and her native France. This time around, you'll not only have access to 6 new weapons, such as a pistol crossbow, but it can enlist the aid of several Buddy Al characters to accomplish different tasks, from providing cover FS fire to cracking.
You know what, since we aren't...
Expanding on the disguise
I'm not
mode
doing a
from
ROM
the first
3
game,
this week, so
Medal
fuck
of Honor
it.
Underground will enable you
This
to
is,
assume the guise of civilians to move
Underground,
through
Medal of
German
Honor
and
Underground.
EA-controlled areas. And if your enemies will also be better equipped this poor time around, both mentally and physically.
Should I try this one, or should I try the first
For
Medal of
enhanced
Honor?
enemy AL and more vehicle types 3-1 PSORL. For them to utilize in battle, including half-tracks AoE, TE and motorcycles. LL by IHI with its sights set on the same meticulous A10, I4 LDEIR, tie into real-world details as the first game, Medal of I equals NE, Smiley Face Honor Underground will bring its Hollywood caliber, 3 thrills home this fall. We'll have more on the game BN5 as its development progresses. /E, so.
Okay. I'm gonna quick hide this screen, because no idea if it's going to ding me for showing a ROM site on stream. I mean, an eBay listing to a perfectly legal copy of Medal of Honor. Whenever I hear this music, I just think, Rollin' Rock on the Rollin' Rocker. Rollin' Rock? Rollin' Rocker. Oh god, there's a German version of... Why is it not... Do I have to use... Underground? I don't know. Cool ROMs is being weird. I'm just gonna use Vim's layer. How much you want to bet the German version of Medal of Honor is censored? Like they did like a Probotector, just turned all the Nazis into robots or something. Okay. You know what? Let me see. What is their play online feature like? I'm curious. Hello, work. Let's see what their play online feature is like. Is it good enough to get a Medal of Honor experience, sort of? Yeah, it should work. That might be better. That means I don't even need to download this. Wonder if it's gonna read my controller. By the way, I don't know if you saw earlier, but I got a new capture device. It works really well. I went a little bit more expensive, got like an AverMedia thing. The entire reason I did that is because apparently OBS will just make these cheaper capture devices obsolete for no reason, apparently. Oh, I do download it. It does read my controller, okay. Alright, Medal of Honor. It does read the controller, you're right.
Good morning, Lieutenant. I'm Colonel Hargrove from the Office of Strategic Services. I'll get right to the point. The OSS was formed 2 years ago by presidential order to serve as the intelligence branch of the United States military.
Alright, he's looking a little bit undead, but...
Espionage, sabotage, subversion, search and rescue, you name it, we do it. Now, from time to time, we recruit people from outside of the regular ranks, especially if they've got a particular skill we need. Like you, Lieutenant Patterson. What you did last Monday got our attention. I know you consider yourself just another anonymous pilot in the Transport Corps, but taking out a half a dozen of the Wehrmacht and then sneaking back into friendly territory is quite an impressive feat of soldiering by anyone's measure. I had your records from Basic and OCS pulled.
Hey, let's just skip that. Wonder if this is new enough to use, like, the dual analog stick method. Probably not. Although Underground might have. Underground might have used the dual analog sticks. This one certainly does not. How do I shoot? The circle button is shoot. That's how they had to do it, I suppose. This looks alright. It looks a lot like GoldenEye, I would say. I guess a lot of FPS games kind of looks like that, but... Well, there's strafe. Can I, like, look around? No, I cannot. It's literally, you can sidestep, you can... Well, you can sidestep or you can strafe, although they both seem like they do the same thing. Honestly, this is so... This is why I don't play first-person games. Oh no, I am turning with the D-pad buttons. I can't see shit. I can't. Yeah, I figured that out. I am doing that. I mean, this seems alright. I just hate first-person games because I can't play them. Like, you'll get shot from behind, and it takes, like, 3 seconds to orient yourself to where you can actually see them and shoot them. That's just an issue with every first-person shooter I've ever played. Anyway. You can look up and down? I have no idea how you do that. Whatever. Your ammo is limited. I figured. I'm not playing a fucking first-person game for longer than 30 seconds. It's just... That's just gonna be embarrassing for everyone involved. Also, can you look up and down? I don't think that's a feature. Maybe if you, like, hold down the R2... Or the, yeah, R2 or something? I'm not sure. ATV. There was so many of these goddamn ATV games. How's this one any different?
Smiley Face developed in the UK by Climax, ATV, Quad Racers
Climax,
takes the
oh
dirt
no.
bike's sturdier cousin, affectionately referred to as a quad, and throws it onto a variety of outdoor courses for some very bumpy racing action. Offering 4 styles of competition, including championship, single race, time attack, and 2-player.
I could always look
the
up and
game
down.
will
I have
manage
no idea
from
how.
6 riders and 12 quads, 6 amateur, 6 pro, before hitting the pavement, or dirt, or snow, or sand. Each course will offer amateur and pro routes, both of which promise to be packed with jumps, obstacles, and...
Unless I wonder if that does have analog support and, like, the
Beyond
emulator
the
just
freedom
didn't
of
support it.
exploration and stunt opportunities offered by these courses, the real key to setting this game apart from the numerous other off-road racers out there looks to be its handling. True to their real-life counterparts, the quads will react accordingly to varying terrain types, with independent suspension for each
I didn't try
wheel
enough
and
buttons.
active
I tried all the
collision
buttons.
and rollover physics. This'll be one game where interaction, read,
R1 is duck,
between competitors,
so it's not
while two are
R1.
not exactly condoned, will
Or no,
certainly be
R1, the L and R buttons are strafe, and L2 is duck, so R2 maybe, in addition to up on the D-pad, I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Nicely, with detailed ATVs and realistically Cali animated riders that sway and KA4 move in reaction to their quads Movafa WW Rio Wements. Looks are one thing, though, oh ha, and the real proof will be in the game you play. ATV, Quad Racers is slated to hit PA in August, so we'll find out how every 3280 thing comes together then.
I mean, that certainly looks like an ATV game. How about Galaga? I've played this one. It's a pretty decent take on Galaga.
Hasbro revives a classic Al shoot dash, M-up Sat A, aiming
One of
to
the
deliver
face
more
buttons
than
held
just a
down?
colored
Could be.
TTAY Ono retouching of the 1981 original, the equals I at me Hasbro Interactive plans to breathe new life into its scans a new Galaga by changing venues from a fixed 2D field to FYRARP, forward-scrolling 3D space. In keeping with the original, Junk, and Solar, your enemies will still pile onto the screen in waves and Hifui then swoop at you either solo or in squads. Only now we're used to seeing on there coming directly at you, and thus avoiding them in asterisk key NASA channel. 3D is introduced as a new tactic. Your weapon of choice, as in the original, is a standard laser cannon, and your ships can still be snatched by the enemy.
I've played
and then
this Galaga
rescued to
game. It's
double up
really
your
fun.
firepower. You'll also be able to acquire power-ups, such as one that steals an enemy from the attack wave and makes them your sidekick. In addition, some enemies now have shields that prevent them from being hit when they aren't attacking, throwing an added bit of strategy into the mix. Galaga is on track for release this fall, and we'll have a full review of this retro news remake when it hits.
It's definitely like, this was kind of the thing to do for a little while. Well, I say that it was most of these retro remakes were done by one company, but they had very hit or miss kind of ability to do that one thing. Like, there were a couple good ones. There was Centipede was pretty good. The Galaga one was pretty good, and then as we saw earlier, the Breakout one was a bit poor. And then there was also Frogger 2, which was surprisingly decent, especially as compared to the first one. Star Trek, oh no, Star Trek games are never good.
first previewed Activision's all-action treatment of the Star Trek universe, Star Trek Invasion, a couple of issues back, and since then we've gotten our hands on the latest version of the game. Fusing the trademark sights and sounds of the series with more action than all of its episodes and movies combined, it's shaping up to be a treat for Trekkers and shoot-'em-up fans alike. It's not all about action, though. In the Combating the Vile Camp, Jot, an alien RAC specifically for the game, you'll encounter selection of objectives, including
okay, this one looks like it might be okay.
In
Just
all, there are 30 missions.
Is this the
which
first
will
good
play
Star
out
Trek
from
game?
stage core to its very end.
I mean, besides the one on
In
Vectrex.
addition to the single-player fare, Invasion also introduces a two-player duo which you and a friend team up to serve as Air's wingman in 5 special will take. Technically, the game is looking and sounding great, thanks to enough prompt score and sound effects, with S but you DualShock effects thrown in. Pals, so keep your eyes peeled. Andala set for release in August, and VY Wars
It looks
IB
okay, but they
will
could
review
fuck it
next
up.
issue.
I don't know, do people... Star Trek Invasion. I'm gonna look this up. Like, let me check like ChatGPT or something. Do people generally like Star Trek Invasion on PS1? Star Trek Invasion sits in the middle. Not hated, not especially loved. Okay, well, that's an improvement for Star Trek games, I guess. Critical reception at release. Aggregated score around 76 out of 100. Okay, that's not too bad. No right-out negative critic reviews, but a lot of good, not great takes. Common views, solid space shooter, but not top tier compared to similar PS1 games. User reception around 6.5. Oh, so the audience reception was generally a little bit harsher than the critical reception. Ronnie approved? I bet you it is. Yeah, I mean, definitely Star Trek had a lot of, like, not great games, but this one at least seems better than it could have been. Like, I'm looking at that screenshot and I'm like, this looks okay, but it's not impossible to fuck this up. .007 Racing. I remember seeing this game and being like, why does this exist? Actually, GoldenEye, I think, was supposed to be a racing game on the Virtual Boy, of all things, initially. And then they were just like, wait, no, nobody's buying the Virtual Boy. Let's move it to a system that people might actually own.
Tivity I Weloi, it oily plus LAL like the success of Tomorrow Never Dies and the
It looks pretty good, at least from the screenshots.
The World is Not Enough game, EA is looking to take its Secret Agent franchise into new areas. With 007 Racing, working title, things are going to be a bit different. Instead of the secret agent himself being the main focus,
I think that ended up being the final title, if I remember right.
Star treatment, you'll now have the chance to get behind the wheel of such famous Q-branch enhanced vehicles as the Aston Martin, Lotus Esprit, and the currently popular BMW. EA is keeping quiet about the rest of the vehicular cast.
Oh god, of course
but we
007's a
expect all of the
BMW
major
asshole.
Cars in the long-running series to show up. The game will cover 15 missions, which will have varying objectives. One time you may be required to just provide protection, while another time you may be forced to chase down a particular target and thanks to a virtually unlimited bank.
No idea if people generally seem to like this game. It looks good from the screenshots.
NEA DL6 terminated. It's all enough T-Day's work for the world's #A_E busiest secret agent.
I wonder if this game is new enough to have a Metacritic score.
Towed to the authenticity of the game, the missions have been loosely based on or as EEH inspired by famous Bond-esque film moments. Will we see T the underwater sequence from The Spy Who Loved Me or the T flying segment from The Man with the Golden Gun? There's no way of telling now, but we certainly can hope while we're always glad when companies attempt something new with their franchises, it's always surprising when these attempts actually produce quality games. Granted, 007U Racing is still very early in its development cycle, but it already shows a lot of promise. And along with that promise comes a rumor that the game may also be released for the PlayStation 2. Let's hope that's true.
It has an overall score of about 51 mixed or average, 4.9 out of 10. Generally unfavorable, 4.9, presumably that's out of 10. Okay. Well, I guess that's unfortunate. It looks good. I guess it doesn't play so great. Because I don't know exactly what I expected of 007 Racing. Especially if it is by World's Not Enough people. World's Not Enough was... I thought World's Not Enough was an alright shooter, if not a little bit disappointing after GoldenEye. I owned it on the N64. Again, decent, but a bit disappointing compared to GoldenEye. Code Junkies. I'm probably not going to look into this too much, but we'll see.
Folks, codes don't get much better than this. By entering the following cheat, you will open a hidden menu that will allow you to finish a level at any point, turn invincibility on 5 and off, open all levels, and turn on a matrix type mode, among loads of other cheats. To enter a cheat, pause 3 the game at any point by pressing start. On the pause screen, press and hold L2 and then press AO send plus POCE POASH, then select the new cheats option that will appear on the bottom pause menu to reach the cheat menu.
We can just, I'll just show you the things. You can pause if you want to read them. Battle Tanks. I've never even heard of this game. Battle Tanks. Presumably it's a tank-based game. Championship Bass. More like championship ass. Got him. NBA Shootdown 2000. There's a lot of cheat. Oh, no, wait, no. Strikeout Pro 2000. We got Urban Chaos. What the actual fuck is that? I know of Urban Rain. Never heard of Urban Chaos. I don't think those games are related. Roll Cage? Rage 2, never heard of that one. Does it? Oh, Stage 2, I see. And Vanarix. I wonder if I might have to. Not anytime soon, but like I want to do like a few like short ones whenever I'm done with GBA, but one of these days, how absolutely fucking insane would it be if I just did an alphacade of every PlayStation game? I feel like once I'm done with like GBA, I'm just gonna be like, fuck you. It just everything is just entirely possible. PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, every game on the Xbox 360. There is no God. Fuck it. Game Shark codes. Well, you can look at those if you want. Ah, here's letters. Okay. Wow, there are letters. A lot of them, in fact. Some of them even form words, I think.
Claudia Mask Latte ET High Seesaw 1 Team, Katarina PG Re AM Hello all that PSM. Have a question that's never been asked before. Assume that PS2 will have its own browser, and was wondering if it supports JavaScript and HTML. I've built a few scripts that ended up causing a pile of bugs on some of my files.
Let's assume that the PS2 has its own browser. It never did.
Your PS2 in saved files. Also,
does it support JavaScript? No, because it doesn't exist.
PS2 sites can be a whole
Why didn't the
lot.
PS2 have its own
I'd
browser?
love to see some new language
I'm gonna think of
come
it.
up
I don't even
that
think the
can have
Xbox
effect
had its
over
own
your
browser.
game,
Why
but
didn't
that's
it?
a far shot. And also,
Dreamcast
what
had its own
programming
browser.
language does Squaresoft write its games in? Gregory Rasputin kid_Rasputin at yahoo.com.
Let's assume this thing has a thing that doesn't exist yet. What are the technical capabilities of said imaginary thing?
Beef Steve, well, to be honest, the details about the PS2 browser have not yet been revealed. Sony is being very tight-lipped about its online
Mainly
plans
because it
and
never
probably
happened.
won't start to talk about them until next year. Right now, the focus will just be on games.
Or did it?
Speculating, however,
PS2 never had
the
a web
browser
browser,
will
right?
support all the major internet standards like JavaScript and the latest HTML standard. Would also expect Sony to partner up with such companies as Apple and Real Networks to bring their video/audio standards to the PS2 community. Since the internet is such an important part of Sony's future, don't think the company will approach it half-assed. And that's what's got
Oh,
me
they
excited.
totally didn't.
Feel that RE's story plots have been horrible ever since RE2. Mean, don't get.
Well, they didn't approach it half-ass. They approached it no-ass. Why did they do that? This is like web browsing was like the thing to do for the Dreamcast, and then no one else did it until like really the Wii, honestly. I don't even think the 360 had a web browser until a bit later on.
Me wrong, liked the action. Nemesis was a real good enemy, and provided the story plot was better thought out, it would have been a real good game. Think that Capcom was just looking to pump out another RE game because their money mattresses were going flat. Have some questions for Capcom about RE. Did you fire your writers after RE2, or did they all suffer major head wounds? What happened to Rebecca from RE? Why didn't Leon go a less than W with Claire? PEV74, Mercenaries? IEEB a retarded UONS4 blindfolded, ENGE monkey with A, X pentapentahes section 5%. Hand could FRE. TSE write a better copyright $ASR story than that. _4S action-wise, it Ringo 7S was totally AUL my T sweet, but _ice key equals. Story-wise it one missed the NSI mark by a long shot. And read S in one of your DL
I'll get to that in a
magazines
second.
that ENAY is scenario 3 pounds AS where you are FAJ the evil umbral BS la people for Greg wants a little me SSRE4 was posse with his Resident Evil Char Bible. Hope TFG beat I Capcom buries that idea in a big pit and 5 posts armed guards around it so no one will ever find it again. Greg ETARLBOT.
He really did not like Resident Evil Nemesis. What was Nemesis? Was Nemesis... Nemesis wasn't that first-person Resident Evil game, was it? No, that was Survivor, right? I want to say it was. Thoughts on the Iran situation? I mean, On paper, I supported it. I just think that on paper, I don't think it was a bad idea. I was just very reluctant that the Trump administration would handle it right, and turns out I was completely right to be reluctant. They completely bungled it. I was concerned from the moment that I remembered, oh yeah, Trump is our president and he doesn't know foreign affairs to save his life. One, and then two, I was especially concerned when he came out, gave a speech, and was just like, okay, we toppled the Ayatollah, we killed him, now it's up to you to reform a government. Basically being like, okay, we toppled the Ayatollah, and if there's a power vacuum there, you figure that out. That was essentially the thing that got us in. That was essentially the thing that ruins Iraq, ultimately. So, ultimately, they did. Now, ultimately, it worked out. I would say it worked out more smoothly than it could have, just because it seems like Iran already kind of had a chain of commands put in place. So, they already had essentially like I forget the technical name that they gave it, but it's essentially like a House of Commons or like a Senate, just like a group of 100 people. And they chose a new Ayatollah, which was, I think, the old guy's son. And he's just as conservative as the old Ayatollah, so not really much was ultimately accomplished as a result of this. Really, all of this just seemed entirely unnecessary. I think, and yeah, none of this really needed to happen. I think that he made a decision that was very reactionary based off super faulty intel that they got from Israel, and now we're paying the price because, well, the Strait of Hormuz is now shut down and we can't reliably get oil. So honestly, yeah, I kind of supported it at the beginning. Or, no, I don't know if I really ever really supported it. I just, like, at first I could kind of say, like, this was a good idea on paper, but then I remembered, oh yeah, Trump is our president and he's gonna fuck it up. And indeed, he fucked it up. But also, even if he didn't fuck it up, I don't know if there was really much of a better way that could have been handled other than just... Because, like... And honestly, like, Israel had been baiting us, had, like, attempted multiple times to bait us into this. There was even, like, Anthony Blinken, who was our previous defense secretary, basically came out and said, like, yeah, this almost happened under the Biden administration until we basically at the last minute realized, oh yeah, this intel is really faulty and we shouldn't take it seriously. So there was at least a good enough kind of communication chain to sort of avoid that during the Biden administration. And it had happened, I think it even happened like during the first Trump administration, and kind of wiser heads were able to prevail there too. Really, it just seems like I'm not opposed to getting rid of the Ayatollah. I feel like we kind of half-assed it, though. I feel like we should have... If we were gonna do that, we should have taken out... If we were gonna, like, go in and take out the Ayatollah, we should have, like, gone in full force and, like, taken out more people. Otherwise, just leave them be. Because, I mean, like, the Ayatollah that was in there before, he was 86 years old. He was, I think, barely conscious, so he was... I've heard some people say he was like weeks away from death just naturally. Yeah, it was all just a complete waste of time and energy, and ultimately it accomplished nothing other than gas and oil going up a couple extra dollars. It's for control of oil resources. Yeah, and that completely backfired because now we have less access to oil. Do I consider going in with force for foreign policy? Here's the thing, is like, so the reason I supported it in Venezuela, and ultimately I think that Venezuela may turn out to be a success story. That remains to be seen, but I think Venezuela may turn out to be a success story because the reason I mainly supported it there is because he was fraudulently put in there as the leader in the first place. I think that unfortunately, the charges we brought up against Maduro were kind of trumped up, no pun intended, but I think what we should have done is we should have put him under the charges of he stole an election. Like, that is not something that should be allowed. He legitimately got less votes than the other woman who ran against him, claimed victory anyway under basically no pretenses, and just assumed power. That is a dictator. We should not be standing by and allowing that to happen. The people spoke. They didn't want Maduro. He assumed control anyway. If somebody, and I can say this as an American, Trump attempted to do that. He really failed at it. Because, again, he made the decision in a very reactionary manner, and he's an idiot, so of course he fucked it up. And he kind of tried to do it based off of like some weird half measure that didn't actually exist in our Constitution, so there was no legal basis for it anyway. But I'm telling you, if a president did that, if we had an election and the president did not win the Electoral College, which is the standard for our country to become president, and then just assumed victory anyway, I would hope that a country would come in and take out our undemocratically elected leader. Or even our military were to do that. And it seems like Venezuela might be a success story. It seems like they might be installing that woman into power. Which is good. That's who the people voted for anyway. Whether it's fraud or not, because the consequences are correct, that means it's justified. I mean, I don't know if it's legal or not. I believe that it's probably not, and if Trump gets any sort of ramifications brought up against him, who knows? If that happens, I mean, I'm not gonna fight that too. Fine. He broke the law, whatever. If he did break the law, then he should have consequences put up against him. I'm just saying, you asked my opinion just based on, like, my layman opinion on how it should be, as opposed to what the laws actually are. How it should be is how I've described it. I think that it's not necessarily a bad thing to overthrow a non-democratically elected leader, as long as we kind of don't half-ass it. And we have a history of doing that. And that's ultimately what led to the problems in Iraq. We didn't overthrow Saddam Hussein. We backed the people who did do that. And ultimately that led a power vacuum, which led the way for terror groups like ISIS to take hold. The problem wasn't that Saddam was overthrown. The problem is that we completely bungled the reconstruction effort. We didn't stay the course. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not talking about the legality of it. If it is illegal, then yeah, Trump should be punished for it. I'm just saying that's my personal opinion of how it should be. I mean, I have no allegiance one way or the other. Now, I'm thinking that regardless of whether it's legal or not, charges are not going to be brought up against him, and I know this because of the Iraq War. We went there under false pretenses, backed the people who overthrew Saddam Hussein, completely bungled the reconstruction effort, and arguably got into Iraq under illegal pretenses. There were, like, some scam, like, congressional, like, trials brought up against former Bush officials. No charges really ever brought up against anyone. And ultimately nothing really came. Definitely nothing came of it from the United Nations. Definitely nothing came from it from a UN point of view, which arguably it should have, but no, like, from a legality standpoint, I mean, if it does turn out that it's illegal, I think that definitely charges should be brought against Trump, but from a personal standpoint, I think that it's okay to overthrow a non-democratically elected leader. Because ultimately, it's what the people decide. And they had elections. They had elections, and the elections were scams. That's what I'm saying. Like, even if... Like, okay. Like, I would say, like, even if the leader came in and said, okay, I'm going to outlaw elections. Even if they did that, I would say, okay, you outlawed elections, declared yourself president for life. If you do that, then fine. That is, you know, I disagree with that, but that is within your rights to do that as a country. I don't think we should go after you. If you are going to have the pretense of choice and then have it not matter in the long run, then we should be able to overthrow you. Because, again, I would want that to happen for us. We have elections. The Electoral College system, there are people who argue with it, but it's the system we have, so just assume that as the pretense. We've had people win the popular vote and lose the Electoral College. That happened with Hillary Clinton. That happened with Al Gore. But under the rules of our country, they still lost because they lost the Electoral College, which is fine. But if somebody loses the Electoral College, which is the rule that we had already predetermined is the law of our land, you cannot go in and say, "Oh, that doesn't matter. I'm president. I've installed myself as president." The US gets away with it because they're powerful, not because it's legit. You are right on the money, LCX. They shouldn't. They will. They probably will. Anyway, you asked my opinion. That's my opinion. Anyway, what's the answer to this? They were talking about RE Nemesis. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the criticisms against the review of Nemesis?
Okay, we'll see if you've got the Nacho CA to explain this one last time without the misconceptions. KS the PS2 has 77% anti-aliasing kappa and T abilities. However, Yen Prince, it's been rumored beer that not only is SE, the programming AY, PY, or the PS2 very are difficult, but Addy, BN finally that the 8-way program, BL MERS have to go one, idea about coding the __A, anti-aliasing in OML requires twice the HL work of normal anti-aliasing. EP now, us con B, CD CERN readers 0. And Sony fans /EY aren't claiming there's no more realistic interaction aliasing, but that many developers might just decide to skip that aspect of development for the most part and use the lame excuse that their game's just so great at game, control, and story-wise, that they didn't need to create lots of eye candy, i.e., great graphics.
Yeah, I've never played RE Nemesis. I think, I don't know if that game's like gotten better like reception with age. I keep thinking that's the first person shooter one, but I'm pretty sure that's Survivor. The first person shooter one I thought was okay.
Neither Tekken Tag Tournament nor Ridge Racer V are blowing me away when compared to already existing Dreamcast games, and that's scary. So when do the real, good games start coming out? Dakota Goldsworth are 3.
Dude, you got like 20 fucking games.
Brandy. Yes, the PS2 definitely.
RE3 is probably the best of the PS1 games. Okay.
PS2 software we've
I didn't even know. Oh, that was RE3. I didn't know there was an RE3 on PS1.
Familiar with the hardware, there are a number of reasons that these early games have edges that look more jagged than on other systems.
Music come from?
The most prominent is that implementing anti-aliasing on the PS2 hardware is handled very differently than with other 3D chipsets and architectures.
Oh, Aquaria. Okay.
Implementing it can result in major slowdown in games if it's not done the proper way, and, unfortunately, the early development kits and documentation didn't exactly spell out an easy
Oh, no, you requested this one. That's right.
This is supposedly being addressed with new versions of the development environment and documentation, and once graphics programmers get a handle on how to implement anti-aliasing on PS2 without their games bogging down, every game will have it. And on top of this, most of V2 the early games, such as New York ING the system's graph section and ICS memory in half to render the two NTSC, Picame video fields needed for the perks RIDG 60 fields per second disk. 90 ND for it play and then assembling them manually through additional programming. In reality, The PS2 is designed to do all.
Okay. So basically he's saying the launch titles like Tekken Tag Team and Ridge Racer 5 seem kind of disappointing. What is the response?
2ATR of this automatically, but as with the anti-aliasing features, it wasn't clear nor LY documented early on.
Honestly, a lot of Sony's hype just turned out to be bullshit. That was like the major thing. But people bought it anyway, just at least initially based off the hype alone.
Jaggies more noticeable than they would otherwise be. Is being addressed through new development tools and documentation. Tele 8M, like any launch games, Tekken Tag ONS and Ridge Racer V were severely LY rushed. In fact, Namco had less than 4 months to develop RRV. They have had ample time for develop, copyright 3, meant, such as US launch titles like 8V Madden and SSX. You're going to see a dramatic leap over what's POS, F Cybele on other systems. Hang in there 13S, it'll be well worth the wait. LED 30 high, I just have one question.
LCX, the PS2 never had a web browser, did it?
Just a 56 widescreen OTHD TV. I recommend you get one.
If it did, I don't think it was official.
I was wondering if the PS2 had the COLI or stream outputs for a high-definition CU picture. My current DVD player only has 80 the AV and S video outputs, so obviously I'm hoping the PS2 will have the ONS ability to support my new TV. Also, I guess this is 2 questions. No, the system can be connected
not unless
to
you
a
use
stereo,
Linux. Yeah, you're
does
right.
It have digital output for digital sound?
That's right, I think
Or
you
is it
could
just
hack
the Wii
Linux onto the
output?
PS2.
L3
You could definitely do it on the
Boy
PS3.
at hotmail.com EBS LNB Steve. Here's an AJ.
Actually, from what I understand, the Linux, the PS3 made a pretty decent Linux box.
Yet Onan, Shaun, plan to in the near Kami is just one of future. My Lego will S Ridge Racer Voss have to do in the meanwhile. Anyway, the best that the PS2 can currently output is either an RGB or in-component video signal. In most all cases, RGB is what you should go for.
RGB is really better than component? I didn't know that. I didn't know RGB was that good that it kept being the default even compared to component, which should be able to do like 480i at least.
For about a year now, and would like to say that
you can install Linux on PS2. I thought so.
Really like your guys' taste in games, so trust your mag when choosing games. Am a hardcore PlayStation enthusiast and cannot wait for the PlayStation 2 to come out. Also cannot wait for the sequel to my favorite video game to come out, Metal Gear Solid, Sons of Liberty. Now on to my letter. I'm sick of hearing people complain about sequels. Also, if a game
don't you have a PS2? Don't you have like an original PS2 somewhere? I mean, there you go, install Linux. Did you see that Reddit post I posted on the Discord, LCX? Wasn't that just like the weirdest bit of like elitism for absolutely no fucking reason?
First one was really innovative.
Tyler found that on Reddit, on like the unpopular opinion section, and it's just like, that was hilarious.
I was also wondering, when you guys rate a sequel, do you rate it based on if it was a new game, or do you compare it to the previous game, and then rate it? Really liked your top 25, most of my favorite games were on that list, and all those games deserve to be on there. It was a thorough list and very well done. Mark Nieto, Long Beach, California.
Oh, you haven't seen it. So, no, like, so the major thing was, it was, like, about Oreo cookies. Like, it was like, Oreo cookies are the worst type of cookie. It's just a bitter, chalky. Like, watch it. It's, like, the most, like, tell me you're fucking... Like, this dude just dead-ass fucking thumbing his nose at an Oreo. And it's just like, dude, it's a fucking cookie. Chill the fuck out. It's a fucking cookie. Like, I don't care if you like it or dislike it or whatever. It's a fucking cookie. It didn't murder your family. You don't have to be... You don't have to devote this much energy into railing against a fucking cookie.
Avis, speaking of sequels, don't think that sequels are fine as long as they don't get stuck in a pattern and become predictable. Obviously, you expect a bit of the same, but developers have to include new features and innovative gameplay if they hope to keep sequels.
I tagged you in it in my
The
Discord
Tomb
if you
Raider
want to check
series,
it out.
For example, is quickly dying because IDOS keeps pumping the games out without much thought. If they would release a game, say, every 2 years instead of every Christmas and spend some time making it actually better, then the series would still continue to be popular. Fortunately, it looks like IDOS is taking its time with the PS2 incarnation of Tomb Raider. Let's hope it's really good because the series
Oh, it
definitely needs
very
a
much
rebirth.
was not. That was
Mark, you
Angel of
mentioned
Darkness.
you
That was the
think if
really
first
shit
game
one
in a
that everyone
series
hated.
is innovative, then the sequels should be too. That's not true. Take Twisted Metal, for example.
Angel of Darkness was so bad that they remastered it, and even that version
genre.
wasn't good and was somehow
However,
worse.
As the series went on, it got stale and really didn't bring anything new to the plate. That's how Vigilante 8 managed to steal the crown. V8 brought some new ideas to the genre and car combat fans flocked to it. As far as rating sequels, we judge the title on its merits as a single game and also see if any improvements were added. We also take into consideration if the sequel is better or worse than the original game. And that's we score M.
Yeah, that's fair. Threads of Fate! Buy this game. Buy 2-3 copies of this game. It's really good. Make secondhand copies of Threads of Fate become super expensive on eBay so that Square realizes that people still like this game. Please, make a sequel or a remaster. Just acknowledge that Threads of Fate exists, Square.
Say or 1B Section 0 UN Ed, but a lot of TVs still don't have the required inputs. Since you have a HD TV, you might consider purchasing a line doubler if your TV doesn't have one. That way, you can take advantage of all those extra lines of resolution when playing console games. To answer your audio question, the PS2 does have a single optical digital output. That allows you to listen to a full DTS or Dolby Digital soundtrack on a DVD. First off, let me preface.
Oh, they
my
were still talking
forthcoming
about,
comments.
like, audio
I'm a
and
huge
video
fan
shit.
of your
Okay.
magazine and an even bigger fan of the PSX. I'm also a Dreamcast and N64 owner. Consider myself a gamer and try not to be biased towards any system. If something is better, I'll say it's better regardless of the platform it's on. Now that I've hopefully set aside all bias, I'll get to the point. Was reading your June 2000 issue when came across your article on Madden vs NFL 2K. Now can read between the lines on this one and see that this article is really Dreamcast versus PS2, which brings me to my concern, and must also say that the following comments are not solely directed at you or your magazine but more towards the gaming public as a whole. There's a whole lot of Dreamcast bashing going on lately based solely on the topic of looks. Way over half of this article references looks on some level. Graphics, poly, AAD guns, lighting, etc.
I mean, you bought a thing called PlayStation Magazine. Why are you surprised that they champion the PlayStation over the Dreamcast?
The four most important RY part is gameplay equals A, gameplay game, J play gameplay. Pound yen 4 backslash.
You bought PlayStation Magazine. What are you expecting?
Look, can't say it enough times. But all here lately is, the PS2 looks better so it must be better. That's garbage. Myself, want nothing more than great success for the PS2, but want the Dreamcast stuff to succeed as well. Competition is good law for all of us. It lowers prices and it forces companies to build a better product at zero. So basically what I'm trying to say is if Al Madden plays better than NFL 2K, then say it plays better. But please stop going out of your way to point out every visual difference between the Dreamcast and the PS2. Let's be fair.
I mean, if it looks better, that's worth pointing out, though.
Hardware, and we're all going to pay extra for it. So let's stop all this bashing of other hundreds, tens, start RN play NIMGALL educating GP liar PE. G the public on pound what's really important, and let's all sit back and enjoy the section good game.
I mean, just because you prioritize gameplay over graphics doesn't mean that everyone does.
New competition. Of LY Kenneth Connolly Y Magican at hotmail.com BP Chris. Hey, nobody was system bashing. You're right that gameplay is the most important thing, but great graphics still matter to J7 most people. All we said was that the graphics in Madden are far superior 5 to NFL 2K, and for that scene matter, NFL 2K1. You saw the pictures, it's a fact. Have a Dreamcast and N64 at home as well, and I agree that competition can only be a good LJ thing. But of course, RA people are going 5 to get excited about any 4 #N8G equals. David Miller Jr. Dwellerer at Buffalo.com Brandy, Gleam for Dreamcast, or Gleamcast, is officially a reality. It lets you play PlayStation games on a Dreamcast at 640 by 480 resolution with enhanced effects, such as anti-aliasing and texture filtering, and the result really does look quite good. One downside, though not a major one, suppose, is that Dreamcast will be sold in
No, I wanna...
underscore ILGT system that OE equals can produce New York amazing looking ES games like Madden. The bottom line is, if every /D/ system can continue and to offer amazing games, that's great. But if not, then
I'd buy
may the
ours.
best system win. And simply sickened by the depths that the makers of Bleem and Sega have gone to. Have heard rumor that Bleem is working in conjunction with Sega to produce a copy of their PlayStation emulator for BES4. No, I's not a Tasty 5 breakfast cereal, it's YYN, unsavory PC tool that's got David Miller completely upset. Don't worry, Dave, there are several drawbacks to this evil scheme. Use on the Dreamcast. Is this rumor true? Is it even possible? Can they so do legally? From what I understand, Bleem is a piece of software that allows a person to play a PlayStation game on
Yeah, I have
PC.
no idea how they were able to
Now
get away
they're
with
developing
Bleem, but
something
they did.
similar that will allow someone who owns a Sega Dreamcast to use this software to play PlayStation games without a PlayStation. If this is true, it makes me sick. Competition is good, but this is uncalled for. What's worse is that it will really take the edge off of the PS2. One of the key features about the PS2 was its ability to play PSX games as well as games specifically designed for it. Could see Bleem moving on to work with Dolphin, Nintendo's new system, and even the Xbox, Microsoft's new system. If this ends up becoming a reality, do you think this will seriously harm the release and popularity of the PS2?
I mean, it was mostly down to the Dreamcast having really, really bad anti-piracy.
@CTH David Miller Jr. IR Dwiller at buffalo.com Brandy.
At buffalo.com? There used to be an email address you could have?
It lets you play PlayStation games on a YES Dreamcast at 640 by 480 resolution plus, with enhanced effects, such as anti-aliasing and texture filtering, and the result really does look quite good. One downside, though not a
Did
major
Bleemcast
cast
ever
was
come
born,
out?
suppose
I've heard of
that
Bleemcast
will
before.
be sold in
I think
several
Bleemcast just
each
turned
of which
into
will
like
only support about
a
100
standalone
PS1
Dreamcast
games.
emulator or something.
So, you might conceivably have to buy several Bleem packs at $20 a pop to emulate all of your NPS1 games. In terms of this hurting PS2 sales or its future, can't really see that happening. Backward compatibility, while cool, isn't the major reason for buying a PS2. The new PS2 only games are, and they certainly can't be played on Dreamcast, or any other system for that matter. Hey to all PSM readers and editors. 5 would like to say thanks for the huge PlayStation 2 coverage in the May 2000s issue. Keep them coming, guys. Great X new web page also. My question concerns the wonderful S game called Ace Combat 3 X Electrosphere. Read your preview for this game in the September 99 issue, and USS said that the Japanese import you played had a storyline and character design. However, when bought my US version of it, it didn't even have voice acting, let alone character design. Or storyline. No, most Namco games have no deep simulation feel to them and no storylines except for some.
I'll take a look at the
Are you
fan
taking
art in a
serious?
moment.
So why does the Japanese version contain characters and all that, but US version doesn't? Or has Namco changed the Japanese version that way also? Must say that Namco is one of vibrant companies ever, with flashy, music-filled websites, R4, AC3, and it's not surprising to me
Oh
that
God,
they would
back
give up
when
the story
busy-
and work on the game itself to improve
Back
it
when
and
busy,
the gameplay.
flashy websites
Josh Vasquez
were
featured at
good and
hotmail.com
not something that people
BPC.
hated.
Thanks for the
Actually, people
compliments,
probably hated it
Josh.
too. That's why the
We
.com bubble
certainly
burst.
appreciate.
I think, like, I gotta wonder, like, how many people talked about the internet the same way that we talk about AI today. Is just like... I think the biggest issue with AI is that it's very half-baked, at least in a lot of its uses. They're gonna have to fix that if they want the AI bubble not to burst.
EYESAETPS them. Talking with Namco, we learned that the story segments were taken out because they really didn't add anything to the game. In fact, in certain ways, it actually probably would have confused gamers. Let's just say that the story segments that weren't necessarily that great. Namco felt that it should stick with the formula that was established with the earlier Ace Combat titles and just make the focus pure Mizet-Shown-based action. To my understanding, the European version of AC3 has a few of the story segments left in it, but otherwise, it's the same as the US version. I.e. my fiancé and enjoy playing EA's. Yes, Jay, there is a Sledstorm sequel in the works for the PS2. Sledstorm together, and see that since its release, it's been on the charts as a fan favorite. I'm wondering if EA plans. To release a sequel to Sledstorm, and if so, 3, which PlayStation platform will it be for? PSM has also mentioned that there is a second WWF offering in the works from THQ, due for an
Actually, no. I'm gonna...
to release a sequel to Sledstorm, and if so, which PlayStation platform will it be for? PSM has also mentioned that there is a second WWFI offering in the works, from THQ, due for an October release. When will we see more information on this? JM, Herdakath at AOL.com. Brandy, you're in luck, Jay. While we were poking around EA's booth at this year's E3, there just happened to be a quick, but cool clip from a PlayStation 2 snowmobile game.
So here's some of the fan art. Looks pretty good. A lot of this is... Man, fan artists are on some next level shit. Like, I guess Photoshop would have been a thing around this time, but like, if all of this was hand-drawn, that's insane. I don't know if all of it was, but I have to imagine, well, definitely that one pencil drawing must have been. But like, still, like, if some of that was hand-drawn, that's insanely good.
Playing on their big-ass video wall. Asked the EA rep what the footage was from, and they told me that it was an early glimpse at the PS2 sequel to Sledstorm. Unfortunately, they couldn't provide a release date, but rest assured that we'll keep on
I never
top
heard of
it for you
Sledstorm,
and
so
all
I have
the
no
other
idea if this
Sledstorm
ended up
fans
coming
out
out.
there. On the subject of WWF games, yes, THQ is preparing a sequel to WWF SmackDown called WWF SmackDown 2: Know Your Role for release late this year. We saw some early footage from the game, and it's looking great. All the tag team moves are in there. There equals PD are loads of new characters, such as Rikishi and Itaz, and even AA, ladder match. Section 4 pound 7 we can't wait for equals FSKS this one. Expect PRI, full details just as /Grell soon as we can get our hands on them. Hey fellas at PSM. Have an extremely important issue to bring up. This whole e-commerce thing is driving me insane. You say that in RPGs, which are my favorite genre, you will buy items with actual money. This is preposterous. In RPGs, you are supposed to be rewarded with money by defeating enemies and picking up treasure chests.
Oh,
With
if
this real
only
money
they
movement,
knew.
I'm forced to believe Sony
Sweet
is
summer
selling out
child.
and rewarding people based on how rich they are, regardless of skill. One, like many people, am not rich. Won't fritter my money away on virtual items. Please tell me there will be some way that this mockery of tradition can be avoided. Please. P.S. Hey, Ryan, want to go to the...
Oh man. If only he knew. If only he knew how bad e-commerce would get. Of course, now we call it microtransactions, which is actually arguably a worse name even for it.
iMovies with us tonight? Sorry guys, gee you can't. I'm saving up for the bronzed sword. 52LY.
Everyone did?
Ryan
What are you
Smith
responding
T,
to?
supergoku99@hotmail.com honor of cries. Don't worry too much, Ryan. The examples that we talked about were just that, examples. Yes, technology allows for those types of VF things, and some developers are talk VFING about doing them, but those old plans are still at least a year away. And you agree that it would be a disaster.
I didn't know there were
if
games doing
developers tried to sell their
microtransactions
games
this
one
far
card at a
back.
time, making
I mean, there was
us
that
pay
one
individual
Double Dragon
things
arcade
that would
game, but I
normally
mean,
just come included in the game.
outside of just like freak
But worth it,
anomalies.
This could be cool. Hey Ryan, don't worry about spending all your money online. Heck, you can go.
Oh yeah,
play
MMOs
just
I
nine
guess did
games
that.
nowadays, right? It's Fives as if, for a small fee, we can get extra Ville stuff above and beyond the fullest game. For example, now that Final Fantasyville has been out for a while by and most fans have finished it, how cool would it be if we could buy a UI cool new item, or a new 10-hour New York adventure? That's what we were getting at. SSCH. Of course, have to say that your Magajo zine is awesome. I've read just about beat everyone out there and the rest make on no comparison. Well, I've got a few
I just want one of these guys to be like, hey, I
PlayStation
subscribe to
2,
your
so what else
magazine,
is new?
and I just want to say it fucking sucks, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Like, just one guy to just stop with, like, the endless praise. Like, you bought the magazine. We know you bought the magazine. We know that you like us. You don't have to shower us with praise. I just want one of these people to be like, your magazine fucking sucks and I hate you. You should be ashamed of yourself. Hang your heads in shame.
SZE1. In your May 2000 edition, someone talked of it being a good idea to change sponsors on billboards in sports
Oh, you've
games
got
by way
thoughts
of
on
the
it. I
broadband
mean...
network in tournaments and stuff. Just wanted to add that this could be used to greatly lower the cost of the network fee for 2D consumers.
On the Iran situation, Americans
If they
won't
used
like
it
it. I mean,
that way,
I'm against
then we
it.
could boost feedback.
Mostly because...
Okay,
Well, like I
two.
said... I think
Does
most
the
Americans are
PS2,
against
for
it
the
at
most
this
part,
point.
eliminate most of the slowdown that occurs on the PS1?
Actually kind of...
Imagine it would, due to if the fact
This is actually
that
kind of an
128
outlier. Like,
bit.
yeah, there's always been, like, anti-war Americans, but, like, usually leading up to a war, the president's approval rating bumps up. This is kind of an anomaly where it doesn't. And again, I think that's mostly comes down to, like, what my thoughts are is this might have been okay if it wasn't, if it was literally anyone but Trump at the helm.
And NS4. Also on the subject of DVD controls and for the PS2, would a button be able to 9 be made for functions that are not a quick keypad option, such as angle change functions? Normally you'd have to press select.
Yeah, and if it works, yeah, exactly. If it works, people cheer for the US.
How soon do you think it would be out before the drivers for PS2 will be
like even in the
updated
Iraq War,
for more
like
customizability?
going into the Iraq War, which was famously very controversial. Bush had like a 55 or 60% approval rating. That's pretty high for a president in the modern era, where
Nothing's confirmed.
like the last two presidents, I think Trump might have gotten over 50% once, and that was in his first term. This is definitely very much an anomaly that, like, Trump got us into Iran, and immediately, at no point, was this ever popular. Because nobody had any faith that he wasn't gonna fuck it up. And in fact, I think his approval rating dipped. Like, it's... I don't know what it's at right now. It's probably in the 30s.
Movies with us tonight? Sorry guys, JE can't. I'm saving up for the Bronzed Sword. 2Y, Ryan Smithy, SuperGoku99 at hotmail.com and
using some vague moral premise. I mean, yeah, we
talked about were just that.
Well, like, that's the thing, is America's been doing that for decades. We're all just so desensitized to it. Like, even if, like, the US military has not been directly overthrowing... We've overthrown democratically elected leaders, too, is the thing. Like, that's arguably how we got into this situation in the first place, is That's arguably how we've gotten into this situation in the first place, is because Iran used to have a democratically elected leader in the 1950s. We overthrew them because blah 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 communism or whatever. Enacted the Shah, who was abusive to his people. They overthrew him, and that left a power vacuum, which led to the Ayatollah, who we now just finally overthrew, and was just replaced with another Ayatollah.
That's what we were
So we are entirely responsible for the monster that we have created.
Of course, have to say that your magazine is awesome. I've read just about everyone out there, and the rest make
It goes back at least as far back as the Eisenhower administration in the 1950s.
PlayStation 2. So what
and that's why I often say, like, was 9/11 justified? No, but we are directly responsible for it. And every single person who voted for these policies to happen has blood on their hands. But anyway. I'm so happy I added this. I forgot I added this, but I'm happy I did.
In your May 2000 edition,
I forget what game this is, but it was like, I think it was Gold Rush, like San Francisco Rush, one of those like arcadey N64 games.
In tournaments and stuff. Just wanted to add that this could be used to greatly lower the cost of the network fee for consumers. If they used it in that way, it could boost feedback. J2. Does the PS2, for the most part, eliminate most of the slowdown that occurs on the PS1? Imagine it would, due to the fact that it's 128-bit. Memory bus is 128-bit. Equals 3.
128 bits, just remember that.
Word of a remote control, wireless.
For the record, Dreamcast was claiming to be 128-bit as well, and that was a load of bullshit
wondering if you
too.
thought someone would make one that you can program to be used for your television and stereo system, as well as for your PS2. T4. Also on the subject of DVD controls for the PS2, would a button be able to be made for functions that are not a quick keypad option, such as angle change functions? Normally you'd have to press select, and find it on the options screen. 5.
I mean, how about like the buttons that, how about the thumbsticks that click that existed on the PS1 and yet I think no game ever actually utilized? Hell, there's like maybe, like, how many games actually ever utilized the second thumbstick even? Like, I can count them on one hand.
Online games for a while now, and the PlayStation 2's hard drive add-on would be ideal for storing.
Yeah, that's right. The PS2 did have. Wait, did the PS2 have Did the PS2 have a hard drive? My God, if I knew the PS2 had a hard drive, I would have been so pissed as a kid that I didn't have one.
Anyway, you're correct. They most likely would be used to subsidize fees to play the games, and maybe even eliminate.
Did Ape Escape use R3? Okay. That's like one game that I can think of. In fact, let me ask ChatGPT, how many games...
There'll always be slowdown, even in PS2 games, if the game's programmers aren't
First of all, how many
utilizing the
games even
hardware
use the
efficiently.
second thumbstick?
The only PS2 games
Second
we've
of all,
seen with noteworthy slowdown have been very early in development.
how many
On the
PS1
other
games
hand,
used
games
L3
such
and
as Time
R3?
Splitters, a US launch game from the creators of GoldenEye, run so fast you wouldn't believe it, even with dozens of characters and special effects on screen. 3 and 4. We visited a bunch of companies at E3 that are making DVD remotes for PS2, but don't recall seeing any that are multifunction. It would be great to have one, though. In regards to the angle button, suppose it could be done, but all of the remotes we've seen simply mimic the buttons assigned to the PS2 controller for DVD functions. The only differences being that the remotes are obviously wireless and the buttons are actually labeled
small,
play/pause,
roughly a few
etc.
dozen.
for ease of use. 5. The PS2
Or
system drivers
at
can,
most
and
of the
probably
PS1's
will,
4,000
be updated on a
game
regular
library.
basis via game
4,000
discs.
games.
Driver updates will be put on new
Yeah, maybe I
games
shouldn't
as they
take an
become
update on
available,
PS1.
so your system will be constantly and unnoticeably upgraded to iron out kinks and add new functions. Wouldn't expect to see new options appear until the broadband internet upgrade with hard disk is released though.
Okay,
and that
Ape
won't
Escape.
be smiley face until sometime
Ape
in
Escape
2001.
used it. Alien Resurrection. That makes sense. Medal of Honor Underground. Oh, I was wondering if that used the thumbsticks. It does. Siphon Filter 3? I didn't know there was a Siphon Filter 3. And Gran Turismo 2, apparently. Those are some of the games. I don't think that's all of them, but those are the most... Fat had a hard drive attachment, specifically for Final Fantasy XI. Did not all games support it? I gotta wonder if, like, those, like, couple of games that used the R3 were also the few that actually used the second thumbstick. I remember there was C12 was the one game I found that actually used the second thumbstick. That and probably Alien Resurrection. Anyway. Real fishing. For a second I thought that said real pissing, but no. Marketplace. What is this? Are these just people, like, selling, like, PlayStation games or something? Let's see. I might read, like, one of these and then just kind of skip it, because that's not really all that interesting.
Michael Lee Gandalf 0987 at yahoo.com description. Have a PlayStation to sell with lots of games and accessories. We'll sell the console with 2 controllers and a game for less than $100. We'll also sell the whole package, the PS console, all of my games, Castlevania,
what is
FF7,
AO of the month?
Siberia, Medal of Honor, Crash Bandicoot, MechWarrior 2,
I
Mega
don't
Man
know.
8, Vigilante 8, Tekken, 2 Extreme, and Blast.
I guess this is a way you could do that before. Was this before eBay? No, eBay existed in 2000, right?
And 6 demo discs for $200. Please email
Yeah, because they were like selling Beanie Babies and shit on eBay in like 1998. But anyway, don't contact any of these people. They probably don't have the PlayStation anymore. Unless they, kind of, like, got cold feet at the last moment. I wouldn't blame them. Back issue. What's this? What's this?
i6 official AR Sega Bus Dreamcast OE My Trade Ma Magazine J Gaming 1 The insiders look into the delivers Dreamcast phenomenon with a then 34 special exclusive GD-ROM. The every ISS only place to get exclusive Dreamcast
this
game
is an
demo
ad, okay.
previews. 260,000 readers after just 7.
I think that's entirely... That might be the end of the magazine. Strider 2! Aw, man. Strider 2 is actually pretty good on PS1. Even came with a copy of the first Strider, I think. But Strider 2 is way better. Play that one. And that is the end of the magazine. I think we might have ended a little bit early. Oh yeah, we definitely did. But, Yep. We're gonna end a bit early tonight. DJ is streaming. Let's raid him. He does indeed. Alright, go raid DJ Ronnie G. He's doing some sciencey shit, I'm sure. Saturday, I will be playing Unholy Wars for the PlayStation. Sunday, Advance Wars 2. Monday, I'm going to be playing Game Boy Advance games beginning with the letter M. We are at the letter M now. I'm going to have to look and see if I have that save file for... No, you know what? I almost certainly do not. Elle, if you still have your save file for Mario Tennis, you want to send that along to me? That would be nice. But I'll see if I can get that going for Monday. Tuesday, more Lunar, the Silver Star story complete. Thursday, next Thursday, I am... You know what? I said I wanted to do something European. I also said I wanted to listen to... Or I wanted to see some more PlayStation. I'm not quite sick of the PlayStation yet. So you know what? I am going to look at the UK's official PlayStation magazine. I think it's the official PlayStation magazine. But, yeah. We are going to take a look at that. See... What did PlayStation gaming kind of look like across the pond, as it were? So, join me on Thursday for that. Anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching. Always super appreciated. Special thank you to my members, Arus218, DJ Ronnie G, and LCX. And thank you to everybody for watching me tonight. Thank you, Arus218, DJ Ronnie, or Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, LCX, Karumim Good Gamer, Orc War Chief Reviews, and Renee W. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Good night. I think I've gone to my TED Talk. Bye, everyone.
It's the outro, and here's the outro free. Freddy Freak of into presentations, keeping the nation doing his thing our way. If you wanna see more of me, become a member. Watch some movies on LDM Cinema. Play some games on Rum Roulette and request to be part of the community. Join the Discord, talking about games, music, rum requests, and more. Join now. That's all of the plugs that I've made. Thank you all for watching. Now let's raid!